I tried telling y'all, I really did. I literally posted a video 5 to 6 days ago stating that Baker Mayfield is going to get the last laugh. I'm not going to go over that video. If you want to check it out, feel free to do so. As crazy as this entire Baker Mayfield and Cleveland Browns situation, drama, dilemma, whatever you want to call it has been, it just got even more interesting. And each and every single day that continues to slowly pass by, Baker Mayfield, he's laughing even more and smiling even more. I believe this 100%. You can never screw over a good person. At the beginning, yeah, you may be laughing and you may feel like you got the best out of them, but in the long term, they'll come out on top. Same thing with relationships. You can never play somebody who genuinely loved you and cared for you. Because if you get caught cheating or playing your significant other who wouldn't even think about doing that to you, you didn't play them, you played yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what just happened with the Cleveland Browns and Baker Mayfield. They thought they were going to come out on top on this situation and go get that new, better, and improved boyfriend or girlfriend. And at first glance, everything was going good and it looked sweet, but like they say, time will tell, and it's definitely telling. Yes, I know, we're all going to disagree. Some people think Mayfield's really good, some think he's average, some think he's not so good at all. We all have our own opinion about him, but there's one fine line where I think we can all agree. Every single person watching this video, we can come to the terms with and agree with Baker Mayfield would have done anything for the Browns and he would have died for them. Although, yeah, I don't think he's a top quarterback in the league, he gave them everything he had. And who knows, maybe eventually he could become that, because I think he has potential, he's just not there quite yet. But the Browns didn't want to be patient. They wanted to move on because they feel like their championship window is right now, and Baker Mayfield, he's not that championship caliber quarterback. I will say this, I can't blame him. Deshaun Watson, he's definitely an upgrade from Mayfield. I don't even think it's debatable. But here's what I will say, and I think it's the best analogy for this situation. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Just think about that. Anyways, we're going to talk all about the new and breaking news on the Baker Mayfield update, and it is heating up fast. On one hand, there's some good news, and there's also some bad news. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. Real quick though, before we get into this video, guys, we are less than 10,000 subscribers away from 200K. We haven't done this in a while. I try to do it once every 2 or 3 weeks if I remember, but on a previous video I posted around 2 weeks ago, I said let's see how many new subscribers we can gain, and I'll tell you in one later down the road, and we gained over 600 from one video. So let's try to get on this video. I know there's a bunch of you right now you're watching and you're just simply not subscribed. I'm not gonna lie to you or do none of that like any other YouTuber. I'm just gonna be honest, it really helps on the channel whenever you subscribe. It literally doesn't cost you anything and it doesn't hurt you whatsoever, and it helps us out so much you don't even know. And later down the road, if you decide you don't like my content and you want to unsubscribe, you can always do so. You're not trapped in. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and now without further ado, let's get into it. A couple of months ago, leading up to the draft, the two teams that seemed to have the most interest in Baker Mayfield was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Panthers. And for the Panthers, I don't know if they have as much talent as the Steelers, but they needed a quarterback, and Baker Mayfield, he needed a job. Supply and demand, right? If a company like Chick-fil-A, they need an employee, well, hey, guess what? I need to make money, so we're a good partner, right? Unfortunately for Mr. Mayfield, it wasn't quite as simple as that. There was one big problem. Well, there was a couple minor ones here and there, but I would say overall there was one major one that had everybody concerned. And what I'm referring to is if you do want to take on Mayfield as your new quarterback, you got to dish out about $18 million. And that right there alone is what's held everybody back and why everybody's scared to go after him. To me, it's rather simple. Let's not overcomplicate this and let's dumb it down. Is Baker Mayfield a top 8 quarterback, top 10 quarterback? No, probably not. None of these teams currently feel like he can lead them to a Super Bowl. So that's reason number one why he's unsigned. Reason number two, and it's something that's going over everybody's head, is there's no demand for him at this moment. I said this in the video we posted a week ago. It's the same thing if I need a Christmas tree right now in the middle of summer. If I'm debating on whether or not to get a Christmas tree, when am I going to be more inclined to get one? In the middle of summer or the day right before Christmas? It all goes back to supply and demand. Currently, there's no demand and there's no market for Mayfield. But if he does remain unsigned, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but if he does, once a quarterback gets hurt or a team they get off to a bad start, he'll get signed within the blink of an eye. If you think about it, there's no reason for any team at this given moment to be dishing out $18 million for him. It's not like if you sign him today or tomorrow, he's going to produce and give you your return on investment in a month. The bottom line is, football season hasn't started. Christmas tree shopping season hasn't started. There's no demand. And the last reason, and this is an obstacle, is nobody knows necessarily what to think about him. How do I say this? I wouldn't label him as humble. I wouldn't say he's a class A Johnny Manziel arrogant a-hole and he doesn't work hard, but he does have that little brat vibes he gives off. He's still relatively a young guy that has to prove some stuff, and he's always been doubted, or what he labels as chip on his shoulder his entire life. He's engraved it into his mind. He's an underdog, so anytime he goes out there and performs, he's gonna let people know about it. He's also engraved it into his mind he's the best thing since sliced bread, and that's a problem for a lot of teams. Whenever you're really great or you're elite like Aaron Rodgers and you have those attitude concerns, you can overlook them because you're Aaron Rodgers. Baker Mayfield, he's just Baker Mayfield. I don't want to say he hasn't proven himself, because I think more than anything he's underrated. Look at what he did with Cleveland. That was a terrible organization, and he won him a freaking playoff game. If you would have told me 4 to 5 years ago the Cleveland Browns were going to win a playoff game, I'd have thought you were crazy. Make no mistakes about it, the dude can play football. I saw what he did at Oklahoma. I saw what he did early on with the Browns. I saw what he did when he won that playoff game. But in sports, especially at the pro level, you're evaluated and looked at off of your recent performances. And Mayfield in the last year, especially later on in the season, he looked bad. Compared to what he can do and what I've seen him do, he wasn't even average, it was bad. A key reason for that, and you have to mention and bring it up, is yes, he had the shoulder injury. But in sports, people say this, and I believe it as well, if you're going to go out there and say I'm healthy to play, then there's no excuses. When I was young growing up, one of my coaches told me this, and it always stuck in my mind. If you're playing, you're not hurt. That's how a lot of people see it, and I'm in the same bandwagon. I don't care who you are. If you're out there playing, whether it's on the basketball court, the baseball field, the football field, I expect you to perform like you're supposed to. You're playing through an injury, I get it, but who cares? When you're talking about football at the end of the year, nobody is at 100%. There's guys that are banged up left and right. Granted, I do believe Mayfield's injury was much worse than some others, but he was still out there. And when you're out there and you're putting out that bad film, it doesn't look good for you. And that's what Mayfield did, and that's why the Steelers and the Panthers, they didn't want to pull the trigger. But recently, though, as of this morning, guess who's made their way back into the mix of things? The Panthers. They want Baker Mayfield. They've made that extremely clear, but there's still one problem. It's the salary. They don't want to give up $18 million to Mayfield, and I don't think they will. What they're doing is the same thing every team has done. They're calling up the Browns and going, hey, we want Mayfield, but can we pay half of it and you pay the other half? And the Browns are sitting there going, heck to the no. We just paid Deshaun Watson, who's probably not going to play $230 million. We're not going to pay 9 more for a quarterback that's not going to be here. Me personally, if I was the Browns, I might consider it, because if you don't trade for him, you're going to have to cut him and pay him the 18 outright. What makes all this even more interesting is that, according to the sources, the Panthers, they want to get him right now. You may be sitting there asking, why do they need him in the middle of June? It's because they want them there before they start doing all the mini camps. Taking a look at the Panthers quarterback roster, not too impressive. It's Sam Darnold, Matt Corral, who I love, and PJ Walker. If I had to go with a starting quarterback right now, I would go with Corral. I've been high on him ever since he was at Ole Miss. I've always thought Corral was a first-round talent, and I thought he should have been the first quarterback off the board, but teams were concerned because he got hurt in the bowl game. As to why Matt Corral would even think about playing in a meaningless bowl game, I have no idea, but that's a different conversation for a different day. In my humbled opinion, I think the Browns are being as stupid as anyone could be. You already burned the bridge with Mayfield. He's not coming back, and if these teams aren't willing to pay the $18 million, if you don't trade him and at least pay half of it, you're going to have to cut him and pay all of it. The Browns are not going to come out on top of this situation, and it's going to continue to get worse. But here's what makes everything even more interesting, because early this morning it was also announced 2 more potential lawsuits are being filed against Watson. I've almost lost count, but that's now the 25th and 26th allegation against Deshaun Watson. Oh man, the most ironic part about all of this is whoever on the Browns said it, I can't remember, they stated they wanted a mature leader and a mature quarterback. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is mature, and I'm not saying Deshaun Watson isn't mature, but you can do what you want with all the information that's been going on. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. And this is some advice for you guys. In life, one thing I try to never do, no matter how bad or just anything goes, I never try to burn bridges. I don't care what the circumstance is. I always keep that in the back of my mind. Never burn bridges. Although at the time I may be mad or I may want to burn that bridge, you never know when you're going to need that person again. And what's unfolding between our eyes right now is a prime example of why you don't don't burn bridges. I'm not faulting for trading for Deshaun Watson because he's an upgrade. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm faulting the Browns for how they treated Mayfield. They treated this man like he was a cockroach on their team and he was cancer to the team. I don't think Mayfield's cancer. I can't say that. I think Russell Westbrook for the Lakers, he's the definition of cancer and toxic. I don't think Mayfield is the golden child by any means, but I also do not think he's cancer. I'm also not saying this would have happened, but maybe, and just maybe, if the Browns wouldn't have treated him so poorly, he might consider playing for him this year if Deshaun Watson gets suspended. Don't even think about that or consider it, because I can guarantee you everything I own I'd put on this, he wouldn't even think about playing for them. Ain't no way, there's not a single chance, because I know how Mayfield is. He's petty. He's already stated he's got that chip on his shoulder. It's not a chip anymore, it's a boulder. I realize that rhymed and I did not mean for that to happen. Most of y'all know this. I'm not a Baker Mayfield fan or a Baker Mayfield hater. I'm even keel. I'm in the middle. I can tell you this though, and I think a lot of people, they're just like me. I have somehow, some way found myself rooting for Mayfield to not just succeed, but to rub all of his success into the Browns' face. There's not a single player in the NFL I want to see have success more than Baker Mayfield. That's how America works though. We love the underdog story, but I'm not so sure if this is an underdog story. It's more the villain story. You're going to see Mayfield take on that new role, because when he came into the Browns, he was supposed to be the hero, but now he's turned into the villain. The only downside to this, if he does go to the Panthers, and that looks like the team that's got the best chance of landing him right now, I'm not too sure how successful he can be. The Panthers aren't really known for being a great organization, so hopefully they can surround him with great weapons, and I'm wishing him the best. Trust me on this. Mayfield's gonna get the last laugh. I'm very curious, so let me know your thoughts down below. Bye, y'all.